It's better if you have the old textbook. If you don't have the old textbook, you can get it in the website. Open page number 65, everybody, of your textbook. Okay, so this is the chapter. This is chapter 5, that is morphology of flowering plants. Okay, so these are the topics which we are have to study. I'll read out the topics for you all. First one is the root, stem, leaves, inflorescence, flowers, fruits, seed, a semi-technical description of the typical flowering plants, description of some important families. So we need to study these many things. Okay. In that, this part, from root to stem, like we are speaking in terms of NEET, you only get one question from root to stem. Okay. Hardly one question you'll be getting. Even if you're, and this is the easiest part. So if you get one or two questions, you're very lucky. I would say the paper will be very easy if you get two questions. One question will be there. Okay. So we are not stressing so much on this one question because it's a very long syllabus, but this part is not much. So we'll go how much is required in the NCERT. We are not doing a little bit depth of it. Okay. And the rest part, that is from inflorescence to the whole, this part is very important. So you get totally 5 questions from this chapter, 5 to 6. Let's take 6. So one question is from this topic and the rest 5 questions are from this topic. So we will give more weightage for the one which questions arise. Okay. Did you understand this blueprint? Okay. Next, we will go to the families over here. So the family part starts from your page number 78. Everybody open the page number 78 from your textbook. Do everybody have the textbook or do you need a time to, to download this? Is everybody having the textbook? Is everybody having the textbook?
Ma'am, I'm having the new one.
Yeah, I also have the new one.
Okay, I think the one you might get it. Okay, you're having the new one. I would prefer to have the old one. Okay, so you will get in the website. Any website, if you check, you might get it. Christabel, I think you have the old. I've given you the copy of the old one. No, refer that.
Yes.
I'll give you about 2-3 minutes time, 5 minutes time to download. It would be better if you'll have the old one.
Ma'am, can you send it to me again?
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anybody else need? Can you share me your number? I'll just WhatsApp you all. Anybody? Can anybody share your WhatsApp number?
Ma'am, I will share. Even I will.
Oh, okay, but you need to send to everybody. I hope you all are having a group, no? Like a Pune group.
Yes.
Okay. So put in the chat box your number. So I will WhatsApp the textbook to this group. Okay. So I will message I'm sending the textbook to Parth. Parth, you have to make sure that everybody gets the PDF. Okay. Okay, I'll send it to Gauri and Parth, both of you. So I have sent to Parth and Gauri. Please send it to others. Did everybody get the textbook? Once you download, let me know after downloading. Okay, I'll also kick you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Done, everybody?
Yeah.
Everybody, put in the chat box if it is done. Drop the message in the chat box.
किसके लिए मैम?
Okay, open page 78, everybody. Okay, so over here, you have to study about 4. Okay, so you have to say, I hope everybody have got the old textbook copy and you have opened page 78. Okay, so now you have to study about 4 plant families. Okay, what are the 4 plant families? I know in the textbook it looks like 3, but actually there are 4 plant families in neat point of view. First family is this picture. This kind of picture is known as floral diagrams. This is the representation of a flower. And this kind of symbols and this part is known as floral formula. This picture is a floral diagram. This is floral formula. Okay. So this is the floral diagram and floral formula of Brassicaceae. So over here it is given family Brassicaceae. Okay. Under this, write down the examples for family Brassicaceae. Which plants come under this family? First family is mustard. Write down mustard. Mustard का दूसरा नाम is Brassica.
Ma'am, can you repeat?
Wait, I'll only write. So Brassicaceae के लिए example is, first one is mustard. इसका दूसरा नाम है Brassica. This is mustard. Second is radish. Examples. Third one is turnip. Fourth one is cauliflower.
Ma'am, we should write these examples, right?
Yes. These are the examples for Brassicaceae. Fifth one is cabbage. Sixth is broccoli. Okay. These are the examples for family Brassicaceae. Okay, this is the family for Brassicaceae. Once you're done, let me know. Put in the chat box, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. Shall I erase? Everybody done, no? Because this is,
Yes.
I'm doing annotation, so it will be carried to the next page also. Okay, so first family is Brassicaceae you're going to study. Second family you're going to study is Fabaceae. This family. इसका this is the floral diagram. देखो ये है उसका floral diagram और ये है उसका floral flomida. And these are its examples. देखो यहाँ पर है pulses, gram, arhar, sem, मूंग, soyabean, edible oil like soyabean, groundnut, dye, indigo fera, fiber, sun hemp, fodder, sesbania, trifolium, ornamental, lupin, sweet pea, medicine, muletti. So these are the examples for it. So आज क्या करना है तुम लोगों को? Today you all have to study the examples. Okay, रट्टा मारो by heart the examples of the four families. Brassicaceae हो गया, Fabaceae का. All examples you need to study because questions are asked based on the example. कोई भी तुम्हें Fabaceae, Brassicaceae ऐसे नहीं पूछेंगे. They will directly ask you the examples. Yes.
Ma'am, you taught whole morphology.
You will teach. I will teach whole morphology. You'll be having 3 classes, no? It will be combined with the Mumbai branch. I'll be teaching the whole morphology. I'll only do the morphology.
नहीं मैम, वो सेमी टेक्निक वो आपने बेसिक कैसे स्टार्ट किया, मेरे को लगा आपने सिखा दिया पूरा।
नहीं 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 नहीं, मैंने अभी स्टार्ट किया है। मैंने आई एम टीचिंग यू हाउ टू
ओके।
स्टडी। देखो ये एग्जाम,
अच्छा।
ये चैप्टर ना कहीं पर भी एमबीबीएस में नहीं आएगा।
ओके।
ओके, सो जितना नीट के लिए चाहिए हम इतना पढ़ेंगे।
ओके मैम।
Okay, so I'm only teaching you all how to tackle NEET questions in this exam because ये आगे में देखो अभी digestion, respiration या फिर plant physiology आगे कुछ it is little important, it is required, but this chapter has no importance. So I'm just teaching you all how to crack NEET for this exam. Okay, nothing in detail. Okay, how much I say if you all study is more than enough. Okay, you all can attend all the 6 questions. So study the method what I teach. Got
ओके
it?
मैम।
Starting
यस मैम।
root, stem, leaves ज्यादा पढ़ने का नहीं है, आज ही लास्ट। उसके बाद you all are not even opening the book. Okay? बाद वाले बहुत important है। And now what am I telling you all do it? Today what are you all going to do? 4 families है, 4 families का examples you all are going to study. Okay? The examples
ओके
of the
मैम।
4 families you all are going to study. I don't think Varad, you can record the thing. Okay, so I'm denying it. You can ask this one, your admin, to send the recording. Actually, we are recording it.
ओके मैम।
Okay, so you cannot request for recording. This video is being recorded, so you can ask the admin, concerned admin in Nigiri, so they will send the recording for you.
ओके मैम।
Okay.
मैम
हाँ
मैम वो एनिमल किंगडम का जो आप सिखा रहे थे।
हाँ, लेकिन आज है ना, आज मुंबई के साथ मर्ज्ड हुए हो, मुंबई ब्रांच के साथ, तो मुझे
नहीं
आज
नहीं,
पढ़ाई करनी है। तुम लोगों का सेपरेट रहेगा एक दिन, इसी वीक कभी एक दिन रहेगा, उस
वो जो
दिन
नोट्स
करूंगी
थे,
जब।
मैं
हाँ
वो जो नोट्स थे, वो नोट्स
हाँ,
वो मिलेंगे क्या?
वो मिलेंगे। सेपरेट क्लास है उसके लिए, सेपरेट क्लास होगा, उस दिन देखेंगे। आज तुम लोग मुंबई ब्रांच के साथ मर्ज्ड हुए हो, सो यू कैन नॉट आस्क एनीथिंग रिगार्डिंग एनिमल किंगडम। वी आर डूइंग अ प्रॉपर क्लास टुडे।
ओके
ओके,
मैम। ओके।
डरो मत, मैं दूंगी नोट सब। आई विल मेक अ प्रॉपर क्लास। 3 क्लास लेंगे, एनिमल किंगडम खत्म करेंगे। ठीक है?
ओके मैम। ओके मैम।
Okay. Plant kingdom भी, if you all are not sure, again we can take 2 classes only for
हाँ,
Pune, and properly मैं एक slide पढ़ा दूंगी. You all can make a notes of it.
चलेगा मैम।
Okay. तो आज क्या करने वाले हो everybody? Studying the examples. ये सब examples एक भी छोड़ने का नहीं है, सब पढ़ना है. Okay. Next family is Solanaceae. The third family is Solanaceae. Solanaceae is potato, tomato. You all are familiar with this family. And tomato, potato, brinjal, uska family hai, Solanaceae. Okay. So iska floral, this is the floral formula of this family. और ये है इसका, ये है floral formula, वो होता floral diagram. And the examples for this is tomato, brinjal, potato, chili, belladonna, ashwagandha, infumigatory tobacco, ornamentalist petunia. So these many examples. Okay. Next is about Liliaceae. Next is Liliaceae. This is the floral diagram and this is the floral formula. Examples for Liliaceae is tulip, gloriosa, aloe vera, asparagus, colchicum. Okay, these are the examples. Okay, got it? सो 4 फैमिली है, 3 नहीं 4 फैमिली है, उसके एग्जाम्पल्स तुम लोगों को आज ही पढ़ना है. गॉट इट? ओके. सो शैल वी गो टू
मैम
द चैप्टर नाउ.
मैम ये फ्लोरल फॉर्मूला क्या है मतलब?
फ्लोरल फॉर्मूला मतलब अभी तुमने एक फ्लावर देख लिया ना. फ्लावर में तुम्हें पता है कि केलिक्स, करोला, एंड्रीशियम, गाइनीशियम. सो दीज आर देयर. तो ये कितने नंबर है, कितने कितने नंबर है, हाउ आर दे अरेंज्ड, उसको ना हम एक रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं. एब्रिवेटेड फॉर्म में रिप्रेजेंट करना फ्लोरल फॉर्मूला है. यही फ्लोरल डायग्राम में रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं. वो फूल दिखता कैसा है ना, वो रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं.
ओके.
ओके, वो जैसा दिखता है. यू आई नो नाउ यू माइट बी फीलिंग व्हाट इज दिस साउंड्स एवरीथिंग साउंड्स ग्रीक. बट लेटर as we are entering into the chapter you will definitely understand it. Okay, it's not that difficult. बस
We have to write,
एग्जाम्पल्स याद रखने का है.
we have to write these examples because it's not in the old wala text.
Old one because I just gave you the copy, no, so no need of
Uh,
writing.
so no need of, okay.
No, don't write. I'm just showing where, I'm just making you all aware of the textbook.
Acha.
Okay.
ओल्ड वाले टेक्स्ट बुक में है मैम एग्जांपल्स?
तुम्हारे पास ओल्ड वाले टेक्स्ट बुक में, हाँ, इसके पास ओल्ड वाले टेक्स्ट बुक नहीं है. Most of them are having new textbooks, so that's the reason I just gave you all the old textbook. Okay, study from the old textbook this chapter, please. And I'm
यस
also
मैम.
opening the old textbook itself. This is the PDF of an old textbook. Okay, next is about morphology of flowering plants. Okay, so we will start reading this. A wide range in the structure. So I have told you, yahan tak, not that much important. After that comes the one which you have to know. Okay, but this also you have to know. You can attain 1 marks na आराम से आएगा. अभी समझ में आएगा ये पूरा. So a wide range in the structure of higher plants will never fail to fascinate us. Even though the angiosperms show such a large variety in external structure or morphology, they are all characterized by the presence of roots, stem, leaves, flowers, and fruits. So in an angiosperm plant, whenever you say a plant, what comes to your picture is an angiosperm plant, which is having roots, stem, leaves, and flower is the very important part. है ना? हमने plant kingdom में 5 classes we saw. Or with the, sorry, not the classes. Plant kingdom में 5 divisions we saw. Algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperm, and angiosperms. And angiosperms were the only plants which produced flowers, right? Angiosperms had only were the only flower plants which had flowers in them, and flowers were their reproductive organ, right? In algae, bryophytes, and pteridophytes, we saw their reproductive organ was always in a hidden state. Okay, it was not exposed like that much, so we call them as cryptogams. And in gymnosperms and angiosperms, the reproductive organ is well visible. It's properly visible. So उसको क्या बोलते हैं हम? Phanerogams बोलते हैं. Gymnosperms में कौन देखा था? Angiosperms ने हमने flower देखते हैं. Okay. In chapter 2 and 3, we talked about the classification of plants based on the morphology and other characteristics. For any successful attempt at classification and an understanding any higher plants, we need to know the standard technical terms and the standard definition. So now we are going to study morphology. Okay? हमें अभी यहाँ पर क्या पढ़ते हैं हम? What are we studying? What are we doing in this chapter? We are studying the correct technical terms. Okay, like in plants, you in the lower classes, you know which is the root, which is the stem, which is the leaves. Okay, there are many other branches. What are those called as? अगर ब्रांच साइड से आ रहा है उसके हम लैटरल ब्रांच बोलते हैं, अगर ब्रांच टर्मिनल से आ रहा है उसको टर्मिनल ब्रांच बोलते हैं. सो इफ अ फ्लावर इज कमिंग फ्रॉम द सेंटर या साइड में कितने, हाउ आर वी calling it, how are we representing it, that is what we are going to study. Okay, and not only that, we are also seeing उनके adaptations. अभी एक प्लांट कोस्टल एरिया में दूसरे टाइप ही दिखेगा, वेस्टर्न घाट्स में इट विल लुक वेरी डिफरेंट. अभी देर आर सो मेनी प्लांट्स, मुंबई में वो अलग ही दिखता है उसका लीफ, पुणे और ऑन द घाट सेक्शन यू को वो अलग ही दिखता है. वो क्यों? एडेप्टेशन की वजह से. वो क्यों इतना चेंजेस दिखा रहा है? वी आर गोइंग to study it. We are going to study that. Okay, found an adaptation of the plants. We also know about the possible variations at different parts found as adaptation of the plants to their environment. Example, adaptation to various habitat for protection, climbing, storage, etc. If you pull out any weed, you will see that all of them have roots, stem and leaves. They may be bearing flowers and fruits. They are underground part of the flowering plants of the root system, while the portion above the ground forms a shoot. तो तुम्हें पता है रूट सॉइल के नीचे प्लांट का पार्ट है, उसका नाम है रूट, और सॉइल के ऊपर जो है वो शूट. ये बेसिक है. नाउ वी विल स्टडी अ लिटिल बिट मोर. सो वी आर गोइंग टू स्टडी अबाउट, दिस इज अ टिपिकल प्लांट. ओके, सो बचपन से प्लांट ड्रॉ करो, मतलब यू ड्रॉ द सेम थिंग. यू ड्रॉ ऐसे वाले रूट बोलोगे, ऊपर को शूट बोलते हो. दिस इज द लीव्स, ये उसका बड है. देन ये फ्रूट है, फ्लावर्स है. तो दिस इज द शूट सिस्टम. ऊपर वाला जो नीचे है वो है रूट system. So this is typical for every plant. Okay, now we will study a little bit detail about a root. What is a root? Okay, abhi dekho, just listen to me carefully. Now this is a seed. Okay, this is a seed. Okay, I'll better show you all in the PPT. It will be much helpful. So today I'll be switching PPT and textbook. Okay, so I'll be switching. So whenever I'm doing PPT, better write down, and whenever I'm in the textbook only, you can write down. Okay, बस ऐसे points कर लो. Okay, देखो ये है एक टिपिकल सीड. ओके, दिस इज द सीड. और सीड जब एम्ब्रियो प्रोड्यूस करेगा, ओके, व्हेन द सीड इज गोइंग टू प्रोड्यूस एम्ब्रियो, इट विल प्रोड्यूस, इफ यू कंसिडर दिस एज अ सीड, इट विल प्रोड्यूस टू स्ट्रक्चर. जो एक ऐसे ऊपर जाता है और एक स्ट्रक्चर ऐसे नीचे जाएगा, ऐसे it goes downward. The one which goes upward, the one which goes upward is known as plumule. Okay, the one which goes upward is known as plumule. ये बाद में क्या बनता है? ये यही बनता है shoot. This later develops into shoot system. This later develops into shoot system. Okay, and the one which arises, ये नीचे जो जाएगा ना, this one is known as radical. ये radical बाद में देगा root system. ये देगा root system. So what is a root? A typical root develops from a radical. Root is which is developing from a radical. Okay. Root में you cannot see any node and internode. अब ये लिख लो. I will tell you what is a node and an internode. And no root is known as achlorophyllous. Achlorophyllous का मतलब no chlorophyll. इसके वजह से root never looks green in color. It is positive geotropism. मतलब वो gravitation, it goes towards the gravity. And negative phototropism, it never goes upward towards light. Root never goes. Positive hydrotropism, मतलब जहां पानी है, it is going to detect and it is going to grow there. Okay, so this is the basic definition or a brief about the root. समझ में आया? Write it down and let me know.
Ma'am, are you there? Ma'am, are you there? No.
Done?
What, ma'am?
Done writing this?
Ma'am, wait a sec.
Okay, right.
Wait.
Write this slide and let me know. Draw this one.
Okay, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
Now we are back with the textbook. Okay. So again, everybody look into your textbook. In majority of the dicotyledon plants, a direct elongation of the radical. Radical क्या है? जो बाद में root बनता है. Okay. Where do you get this radical? In the embryo. Did you understand that? Did you understand? Huh. Majority of the radical dicotyledons में leads to the formation of primary root. तुम्हें पता है डाइकॉट्स में क्या होता है? ऐसा एक बड़ा वाला रूट रहता है सेंटर. वी कॉल दिस एज प्राइमरी रूट. उससे ऐसे ब्रांचेस बनते हैं. सो इस ब्रांचेस को हम बुलाते हैं सेकेंडरी रूट. ये है प्राइमरी रूट. PR आई विल राइट. ये है प्राइमरी रूट. उससे जो ब्रांचेस निकलता है सेकेंडरी रूट. ओके. So this one, this primary root is directly developed from radical. This is a very important thing. Primary root is directly developed from radical, which grows inside the soil. It bears lateral roots. Several orders referred as secondary. Secondary से आया उसको tertiary बोलेंगे. Tertiary से अगर branches आया उसको quaternary बोलेंगे. Okay. So primary root is directly developing from the radical. Okay. Secondary root, tertiary roots are arising from the primary root. उसके branches. Okay. Primary root and its branches constitute the taproot. अभी ये जो दिखता है ना, ये वाला रूट, ये है taproot. ये है taproot. पूरा रूट को हम क्या बोलते हैं? taproot. इसमें ये सेंटर वाला ये है प्राइमरी रूट. दिस इज द प्राइमरी रूट. द ब्रांचेस कमिंग फ्रॉम इट, दिस इज द सेकेंडरी रूट coming out from primary root. These are the secondary roots. Okay. उससे जो आ रहा है उससे भी you can see the branches coming out. These are the tertiary roots. So it's like primary root, उसके बाद secondary root, this is secondary root, उसके बाद ये tertiary root. ये पूरा को पूरा सिस्टम जहां पर प्राइमरी रूट है, सेकेंडरी रूट है, टर्शियरी रूट है, साथ में हम क्या बोलेंगे? टैप रूट सिस्टम. सो टैप रूट में क्या मिलेगा तुम्हें? एक प्राइमरी रूट, सेकेंडरी रूट, टर्शियरी रूट. और प्राइमरी रूट किससे आता है? प्राइमरी रूट ओरिजिनेटेड फ्रॉम वेयर? एनीबॉडी टेल मी. व्हिच पार्ट ऑफ द सीड गिव राइज टू प्राइमरी रूट? Which part of the seed gave rise to the primary root? Just now I told.
Sorry, ma'am, your question was?
Which part of the seed gave rise to primary root?
Radical.
Yes, radical. Primary root originates from radical. And when there is primary root, secondary root, tertiary root, like this kind of arrangement, I call it as taproot. Clear, everybody? Pune people, are you all getting it?
Yes, ma'am.
Then why didn't you all answer? Okay. Now ये है taproot. देखो, this is the taproot. This picture what they are showing is a taproot. यहाँ पर देखो, there is a primary root, secondary root, and the lateral small roots to the tertiary roots. So taproot, primary root is originating from the radical. Now we will study what is a fibrous root. Excuse me. Now what happens is, in monocots seeds, if I take monocot seed, they will also produce a plumule and they will also produce a radical. This radical dies soon. It dies soon. Radical rahega, but the radical dies soon. So the part of the plumule, अभी ये plumule, radical मर गया तो अभी सिर्फ plumule है. Plumule will give rise to shoot, you know that. Any part of the plumule will produce roots. अभी roots कौन produce कर रहा है? Plumule is producing the roots. So will you find a primary root here? Who is producing the roots? Plumule is producing the roots. Will you find primary root here? Yes or no? Radical type. So plumule is giving rise roots, giving rise to roots. So are you going to see a primary root here?
No, because there's no radical.
Yes, correct. Because there's no radical, so you won't be seeing a primary root. That kind of root. So these roots originated from any part of the plant, but not from radical, right? This root originated from any part of the plant. It can be from plumule, but it didn't originate from radical. Who was supposed to give the root system? Technically, in a plant, who was supposed to give a root system? It was radical, but radical is dead. Somebody else is giving the root system. That kind of root which is developed from any tissue of the plant other than the radical. Pay attention to my words. Any tissue from the plant other than the radical is a fibrous root. So fibrous root is not developed from radical. Did you get this? Did everybody understand? Aniket, Christabel, Devika, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That is yeah. We will see now. Now let's see what your textbook is saying. Okay. In monocotyledon plants, the primary root is short-lived and it is replaced by a large number of roots. These roots originates from the base of the stem. It is originating from the base of the stem. This is originating, ये बहुत important है, underline, from the base of the stem and it constitutes the fibrous root system. Okay, so fibrous root system mein you will never see a primary root. And this kind of root system is not developed from radical. This is not developed from radical. This is developed from radical. I'll write over here. Developed from radical. This is not developed from radical. समझ में आया? Okay, this is not developed from radical. अभी देखो, हाँ, yeah, this is what it. Okay, as seen in wheat plants. Now you see, somebody in your friend's house, there was a beautiful rose plant. Okay, so you know that rose is a dicotyledon plant क्योंकि उसमें reticulate venation होता है. So rose is a dicotyledon plant. Okay, तो उस plant में root होगा tap root, है ना? Technically tap root होना चाहिए, as you all have studied in your lower classes. Root. Okay, so okay, तो तुम्हें वो rose बहुत पसंद आया. Okay, one yellow color or pink color, beautiful roses are growing. So you also want to grow a similar plant in your house. So what will you do? Rose में क्या करेंगे हम लोग? We cut the stem, है ना? We cut the stem and we put it in the soil. We plant it in a pot, right? 2-3 दिनों के बाद, 2-3 दिनों के बाद, 2 हफ्ते के बाद, that stem will start producing roots. अभी ये root tap root रहेगा या fibrous root रहेगा? My question is, the stem which you took and you planted in your house, उसमें tap root रहेगा या फिर fibrous root रहेगा? Which root will be there? Did you get my question?
No, ma'am, I did not. Can you?
Okay, you didn't get. Okay, you know what do? We do in the stem in rose plants. We cut the stem and we pot the stem. We take a stem and we plant the stem. Okay, that stem will start growing into a individual plant. So that plant, if that stem is growing into a plant, it definitely has to produce roots, right? Now tell me whether the root is a taproot or a fibrous root.
Fibrous.
Fibrous,
Fibrous
correct.
root.
Fibrous root. Taproot कहाँ से आएगा? Taproot comes from the radical, right? Stem में radical किधर है? Stem is producing the root, and these roots are fibrous roots. तो अभी if this, so you have to keep in your mind that only from a radical, एक seed plant करोगे तो radical से root आने वाला root हमेशा taproot होगा. If you are doing grafting, मतलब एक stem cut करके you are growing a plant, तो वो भी roots produce करेगा, लेकिन वो है fibrous root. Okay, clear? Okay, good. Christabel and Gauri. Yeah, Aniket. Okay. So in some plants like grass, monstera, and in banyan tree, roots arises from the other parts of the plant. तो तुम्हें पता है banyan tree, example banyan tree, branches में से roots आता है. Have you all seen people swing from that? Okay, roots are coming from the branches. Okay, that kind of root, if it is coming from other part of the radical, we call it as adventitious root. अभी adventitious root और fibrous root का difference क्या है कि here they have a little bit confusing it is. अगर root जमीन के नीचे से आया underground, if the root is underground, arising underground, it is fibrous root. Okay, if the root is arising aerially, मतलब branch से, अभी ये है उसका ground, and if it is arising from the branch, or sometimes you will see in bulbophyrum there is one plant, उसके root ना leaves से आता है, like this. Aerial root is coming aerially above the ground, then it is adventitious root. So difference क्या है fibrous का? Fibrous root is also a root which is developing not from the radical, but it is underground. Adventitious roots are the roots which are arising again not from the radical, but they are coming from the aerial part of the plant. Did you get the difference? Did you get the difference? Am I going above your head or into your head? Whatever information I'm giving, is it going above your head?
Yes, ma'am. Can you repeat again?
Okay. So there is a plant like this. Okay. And this is the soil. And it is produced, and the stem is producing the roots. So this is underground, right? Christabel, this is underground, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is fibrous root. Okay. Now there is a plant. This is the plant. And this is the branches. Now its branches are producing roots. Who's producing the roots?
The branches.
Branches are producing the roots. This is an adventitious root. Understood?
Yes.
So both are not developing from the radical, right? This also came from a stem and this came from a branch. Yes, they are not developing from the radical. But this is aerial, so I will call it as adventitious root. This is underground, so I will call it as fibrous root. समझ में आया? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Everybody? What about others? Devika, Gauri,
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Ronak?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next is the main function of the root system is, what is the main function of the root system? Absorption of water. Absorption of water is the main function of the root, right? Root is known only to absorb water and minerals. And providing a proper anchorage to the plants. Anchorage ka matlab, it is giving support to the plant so that the plant doesn't fall. So it gives support to the plant. It also helps in storing some food materials and also synthesizes plant growth regulators. मतलब क्या है इस plant growth regulators का? Plant growth regulators means hormones. It means hormones. Okay. So it also produces, roots are the site of synthesis of hormones. Also, the roots produces hormones too. Understood? Okay, so we'll move ahead. See, this is a picture, shows different types of root over here in a textbook. So this is a tap root. See, it has a primary root. This thin, long, slender is a primary root, and from there arises the secondary or tertiary root. This is a fibrous root. This is underground. See over here, stem is producing roots. And when the stem is producing roots and it is at the aerial part, मतलब soil से ऊपर है, these roots are known as adventitious root. Understood the difference? ये भी stem से ही produce होता है, but it is underground. So it is fibrous. अगर it is coming from the aerial part of the plant, then it is adventitious. Did everybody get this? Christabel, you need to say anything? You have some doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You understood this adventitious and fibrous now properly?
Yeah.
Okay. What about others? Devika, Parth, Shreya, Vard. Vard, are you there in the class? Varad? Sorry, Varad. Okay, Aniket. Okay. Now we are going to study a typical root. How does a typical root look like? This is quite an important picture. Okay, you need to note the regions of this. Okay. Now coming to the region of the root is covered by the apex. Now if I see the tip of the root is covered by a root cap. So why a cap is there apex? By a thimble-like structure called as root cap. So root cap is protective in function. So see, soil is not a very soft place for the plant. When there are so many stones and so many ups and downs and so many hard things in the soil. So root has to penetrate into it. So there is a chances of getting damaged, right? So root cap protects from the damage. So root caps protects the plant parts from the damage. So it protects the tender apex of the root as it makes its way into the soil. उसके few millimeters के ऊपर इस region पर you can see meristematic tissue. What you can see a few millimeters above the root cap is a region of meristematic tissue, which shows meristematic activity. Okay, so you have a region where it shows meristematic activity. So ye region se root grows. Okay, root keeps on growing from this region. Like our hair grows from the where does the hair grow? Does it grow from the tips? No, it grows from the root. मतलब अंदर से, from inside your hair grows. Tip से hair doesn't grow. Okay, so tips पर oil लगाना waste है. Maybe split end से protect होता है. लेकिन if you oil it at your scalp, it grows from the scalp. So that gives you more nourishment. Okay. So but root always grows from here. Root never grows from this region. It always grows from here. ये meristematic region है ना, that is for growth. उसके ऊपर वाला region कहाँ गया? हाँ. The cells proximal to this region undergo, the cells of this region, यहाँ के cells है ना, meristematic cells, they are very small, बहुत छोटे रहते हैं. Thin wall and dense protoplasm. They divide repeatedly. The cells proximal to this region undergo rapid elongation. इसके ऊपर मेरिस्टेमेटिक region के ऊपर these cells are there, no? ये बहुत छोटे रहते हैं. Meristematic cells are very small like this. Very small cells you have. But the cells in the next region, इसके ऊपर meristematic cells के ऊपर, they are long. Okay, they are long and they do not divide. This do not divide. Okay, this and this, both the regions. Okay, I'll make it clean. So this region, this is the region which divides. This region root cap is only for protection. This divides, this is for protection, this divides. These two regions do not divide. No division. So root always grows from the tip. Okay. Meristematic cells are very small. The region of elongation ka cells are long. Like this. Okay, they are long. Region of elongation. Naam mein hi hai, cells are long. Okay, the proximal region undergoes rapid elongation and enlargement and is responsible for the growth of the root in length. So ये regions की वजह से root लंबा दिखता है. The region is known as region of elongation. The cells of the elongation region gradually differentiate and mature. इसके ऊपर वाला region is known as region of maturation. तो ये region से क्या होता है कि पानी का absorption ना यहाँ से होता है. Root का function क्या है? Absorption of water and minerals. Which part of the region absorbs water and minerals? That is region of maturation. Only this absorbs. ये part है ना? This absorbs water and minerals. This is involved in absorption. Water and minerals. So the conclusion is, root में कितने regions है? How many regions are there in the root? Tell me. We'll just revise. How many regions? Nobody understood. 3 regions are there. The first region is what? Region of maturation. Second region is region of elongation. And third region is region of, the first region is region of meristem. Second region is region of elongation. और third region is region of maturation. Region of meristem क्या करता है? सिर्फ divide करके root को लंबा करेगा. Region of elongation में क्या होता है? यहाँ पर cells long है. Region of maturation में क्या होगा? वो लोग absorption करते हैं. Okay? So root में absorption किस region में होता है? Region of maturation. So absorption of water and minerals occur only in the region of maturation. These two parts are not doing it. Region of elongation and meristem are not doing absorption. Okay, the cell's elongation zone gradually differentiates and mature. Hence, the zone proximal to the region of elongation is known as region of maturation. From the region, some of the epidermal cells, हाँ, ये और एक important बात है. So you can see these like root hairs here. यहाँ पर बहुत सारे hairs दिखता है. So region of maturation के epidermal cells. So see, in the region of maturation, the epidermal cells form fine, delicate thread called root hairs. Why did I say root of region of maturation does the absorption? Actually, root hairs does the absorption. Who does the absorption? It is the root hairs. So they do absorption. Absorption is done by them. And where do you find root hairs? Only in the region of absorption, region of maturation. That is why I told absorption is done by region of maturation. Did everybody follow? Followed or not?
Yes.
Gauri got it? Okay, Aniket. Christabel got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the root hairs are doing the absorption. Okay. Next, let's go to the modification of root. इसके लिए I'm going back to the PPT. So you need to write. Put on the light. Who? I'll be back. Give me 2 minutes. Okay. Write down this one point. You will see root cap everywhere, leaving hydrophytes. Hydrophytes का मतलब जो plants पानी में है. Okay, the plants which live in water are called as hydrophytes. Over the root cap is not necessary because water is not that rough. I mean, water is not that hard enough, so they can penetrate easily, right? कुछ damage नहीं होगा, so there is no. Parasitic roots मतलब parasitic plants में root cap नहीं होगा, क्योंकि वहां पर क्या होता है कि they have to penetrate into the host plant, है ना? Penetration करना है, तो root cap problem देगा. And secondary roots में भी रूट कैप नहीं रहेगा. प्राइमरी रूट में रूट कैप होगा, यहाँ पर होगा रूट कैप. सेकेंडरी रूट्स तो इतना डीप नहीं जाता है ना, इट डजंट गो इनटू अननोन एरिया, इट जस्ट इज इट्स ऑन द टॉप सॉइल, तो यहाँ पर नहीं होगा. एंड एरियल रूट्स मतलब जो रूट्स ऊपर से आते हैं ना, वो रूट्स में भी रूट कैप नहीं होगा. So these are the places where you will not find root cap. Important question. Write down. And let me know once you're done. Put it in the chat box as done.
Ma'am, can you go back? I'm not done right. Anna.
Next, let's see the modifications of root. अभी modification का मतलब क्या है? That we will see in your textbook. Okay? एक मिनट सब लोग textbook. Let's go back to our textbooks. What is modification? Root in some plants have changed their shape and structure and become modified to perform functions other than absorption and conduction of water minerals. Primary function, root का primary function क्या है? Absorption of water and minerals, anchorage. वो जो पहले हमने पढ़ा ना, anchorage, absorption of water and minerals, site of hormone synthesis. This is the primary function of the root. Root को ये काम करना ही चाहिए, okay? उसके अलावा कोई और काम करेगा. If it is doing something else, that is modification. Just like you all are studying your 11th and 12th. You all are NEET students. What you have to do, तुम लोगों का what is your first important step to do? Your first important criteria or first important what you have to do is you have to study for NEET exam. Study religiously, do that properly. Okay? Along with that, if you're practicing music or you're into sports or something else, extracurricular things, that is the modification. Understood? If you only do studying, that you're doing your primary functions. Along with that, the extra things what you're doing is the modifications. Okay, just like that, root ka absorption, conduction, water absorption, mineral absorption, hormone synthesis, or anchorage. ये उनका primary goal. उसके बाद extra thing is known as modification. Okay, so this is the modification. Now we'll come back to the PPT. Is this okay for y'all switching here and there? Are you all understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So root modifications we have classified into two types because there are two types of root, no? So root modifications are divided into two types. One is primary root modification, taproot modification, और एक है adventitious root modification. Taproot, how is taproot getting modified? How is adventitious root getting modified? Taproot modification is divided into storage, मतलब कुछ store करेगा based on the function it is doing. So the taproots which are doing, which are storing something, we call them as taproot for storage. And there is breathing roots. Roots breathing नहीं करता है, leaves करता है breathing. But now roots are also showing breathing. We will see. Adventitious root, one function is storage, और एक है mechanical support. Okay. This is not required. Vital functions नहीं है, तो ये part नहीं है. Okay. For storage of taproot, we have conical types of root. एक conical है, एक fusiform है, एक napiform है. Okay. Breathing के लिए you have two roots. I will write it over. I will just leave two space छोड़ो. Storage के लिए adventitious root for storage we have only one. That is fasciculated root. ये वाला, सिर्फ ये वाला. ये सब मत लिखो. These things you don't need. Nodulus नहीं चाहिए. This is also not required. This is also not required. Storage के लिए write down fasciculated root. Mechanical support के लिए prop roots, slit roots, buttresses is not there. Climbing roots is not there. Only two roots. Okay. Now again, I'll tell you all root modification. Some of the, we have taproot and adventitious root. Some of the taproot are involved in storage. So they are storing some components. Example for that is conical, fusiform, and napiform. Okay. Breathing, I will tell you which others. Breathing roots. Adventitious roots are divided for again storage and mechanical support. Storage के लिए only fasciculated root. Mechanical support के लिए adventitious root is prop root and slit roots. Okay, write down this chart and I will go. I hope it's done, no? Everybody have finished writing, no? All the 9 members. Okay, one has replied. What about others?
Done, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so the main function of the root, you know, anchorage, water as well as mineral absorption. Okay, mineral absorption should also be there. It's in your textbook, no need of writing. Mineral absorption or plant hormone synthesis. Okay, Aniket. इसके अलावा let's see the first type, that is storage. Taproot ka storage. So what we do is say these are the examples. Conical, fusiform, napiform. इसका examples देखेंगे. इसमें देखो, this is carrot. Carrot is what it is a taproot. देखो, primary root. Be it the primary root. Okay. And how is it storing the food? इसका shape देखो, conical shape है ना, like a cone shape. So this is carrot is an example for conical. So conical के लिए example is carrot. Next is fusiform. For fusiform ये गलत दिया है. Fusiform के लिए example is radish. Radish is an example for fusiform. How does a radish look? Like a complete carrot जैसा ही दिखता है, लेकिन थोड़ा सा stout है. ऐसा है radish.
Ma'am, so for conical, it is carrot.
Carrot is an example for conical. So you can write down over here. Conical के पास में write down carrot. Example is carrot. Fusiform example is radish. You just write down the radish. No need of drawing. Okay, they only ask example. Radish is an example. For napiform example is beetroot. Beetroot. And turnip. Turnip is what? Nool kol. Everybody knows the turnip vegetable. Should I show picture? Turnip, दिखाती, 1 minute. So turnip. Okay. First write down this, then I'll show you the picture. Did you see the vegetable turnip? Do you want me to show it again? I'll just show it again. My mic was off. I didn't see that. Check that. So this is turnip, this vegetable. Okay. Got it? Fine. So yeah. So you have to just remember the examples. Conical के लिए carrot, fusiform radish, and turnip, beetroot, and napiform is turnip, beetroot, and turnip. So these are for storage. So what do they store? Whatever photosynthesis product is there. Now, what is the photosynthesis product? Starch. They store starch. And whenever plant is not doing photosynthesis or leaves have been withered, fallen down, at that condition, these roots are providing food to the aerial parts of the plant. So during the adverse condition, during drought or any other time, they are going to produce the food. But we eat them because that's the stored food of the plant. Photosynthesis का product है उसमें. Okay. Next we will see storage, adventitious root. Next we will see breathing roots. Breathing roots, we have two examples. Breathing roots के लिए. Tap roots which help in breathing. Okay. So the first one is, this is root nodules. You see in leguminous plants, root nodules. क्या करता है root nodules? इसके अंदर क्या रहता है? You know that inside this root nodules, which bacteria lives? Rhizobium bacteria. The rhizobium bacteria lives into it. The chemoautotroph bacteria, right? Rhizobium is a chemoautotroph bacteria. So this bacteria is inside this roots, and they produce ammonia to the plant. What do they do? Atmosphere ka nitrogen, these bacteria will convert atmosphere ka nitrogen into ammonia. They will reduce the atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia. Okay? And give it to the plant. Plant क्या देगा? Plant देगा उनको रहने के लिए जगह, root nodules as well as kana. Okay, so उसको क्या बोलते हैं? This kind of association, it is known as symbiotic association. So root nodules is a breathing root. Second kind of root is nematophores. ये nematophores है क्या? So if you go to any marshy places, especially when you go to mangrove vegetation, okay, when you come to the coast, Mumbai side, when you come to the coast, okay, if you go to any islands, you will see mangrove trees. Okay, you will see a lot of mangrove trees. And over there, what happens in the saline condition, because of the saline condition of the soil, and you can see always around the soil, देखो ये soil है, a piece of soil, and it is completely surrounded with water. That is why soil is also very marshy over here. Since soil is very marshy, air doesn't pass into the soil. Okay, air is not passing into the soil. And where air doesn't pass, roots cannot breathe. Roots have to breathe. Okay, breathe matlab they have to take in oxygen. See, देखो हमारे पास lungs है, so lungs is doing the breathing activity. That is why each part of a body need not breathe. लेकिन plant के पास lungs जैसा कोई structure नहीं है. Okay, हमारे पास lungs है, we have blood, we have hemoglobin which carries oxygen, goes and gives to the each and every part of our body. But in plants, they do not have this kind of system. So each and every part has to take in oxygen for respiration. Okay, roots take oxygen from the soil. Between the soil, always normal soil के बीच में ना air रहता है, oxygen रहता है. So they take in that oxygen. लेकिन इस वाले condition में air cannot enter because water has been lodged. It's completely lodged with water. So that is the reason what happens is, root ऐसे अंदर है ना, these roots will produce, if you consider this as a soil, okay, this part as the soil, if you consider this part as the soil, and these are the roots, these roots will produce secondary branches and they will come above like this. Okay, ऐसा root, secondary roots ऐसे ऊपर. So what did we see in the first slide? I told roots are negative, positive, geotropic. अभी ये क्या कर रहा है roots? ऐसे ऊपर जा रहा है. Okay, can you see over here these structures? In this picture, can you see? What are these? These are roots. Okay, ये roots ऐसे ऊपर, they are showing positive trophic. They are acting like a stem. They are showing positive trophic and they are showing negative to geotrophic. They are coming up. और ऐसे ऊपर आकर इनके ऐसे roots ना, it looks like this. If you consider this root, this is called, जो root से ऊपर आते हैं ना, उसको बोलते हैं nematophores. यहाँ पर एक सेल रहेगा, यहाँ पर एक सेल रहेगा, through which air goes inside. Okay, through this air goes inside, and this air, okay, this air from here passes and gives it to the primary root. अभी primary root breathing करेगा. Okay, so this kind of root are known as nematophores. Example is rhizophora. समझ में आया सबको? Did everybody understand? This is seen in marine marshy areas. Okay, mangrove vegetation में very common. So what are these roots? These are negative to geotropic, and they are breathing. They are not doing any absorption. इसको बोलेंगे the root which is at the top. No, this part is known as nematophores. Did everybody follow? Aniket, Christabel, Devika.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, you have to draw the diagram.
No,
or-
no drawing, no drawing.
Okay.
Just write down this part.
Yes. Ma'am, I'm writing in my textbook only. That's okay, right?
Fine, fine. You can write in your textbook. I'm just doing what is in the textbook, nothing extra over here. Okay. So now we finished the modifications of taproot. Okay. So we finished modification storage as well as breathing roots. Now we will see the modifications of adventitious root, that is fibrous root. First one is storage. Storage के लिए best example, only one we will study, that is fasciculated kind of storage, है ना? यहाँ पर क्या होता है कि if this is the stem is going to produce roots. इसको हम बोलेंगे अंडरग्राउंड रूट, है ना, ये फाइब्रस रूट, इसको बोलेंगे फाइब्रस रूट. बट एंड ऑफ द फाइब्रस रूट ऐसे structures produce karega. End of the fibrous root is going to produce this kind of structures. Okay. So this is sweet potatoes. So these are the sweet potatoes. End part of this fibrous root is involved in storage. And also asparagus. Okay. Because this is sweet potato and this is asparagus. So this is an example for fasciculated root under adventitious root. Samajh mein aaya? You can write it as fibrous root. Better write it as fibrous root. Okay. It is not storage for fibrous root. Adventitious root upar se aayega na. Ye underground hai. So it is fibrous. Fibrous root. Yeah. Write down. Just write the example. Need not draw. ऐसे वाले एक structure draw कर लो समझ में आने के लिए. Because fibrous roots are giving rise to the storage organ.
Oh, now 25. How will you get 25 completed so fast? 25 say 28.
Okay. Next, we are studying the mechanical roots, prop root, and stilt roots. STILT. This is. So mechanical roots, matlab they are giving extra mechanical support. Okay. Not only anchorage, extra support to the plant. Okay. Okay. Now you can see this is what? Banyan tree, very famous banyan tree. Okay. And you can see the branches. These are the branches, big, thick branches, which are producing roots. Okay. These are known as prop roots. Ye roots are not involved in absorption because banyan tree is very huge. You know, the branches like diversify like anything. Everywhere they just horizontally they grow. And the plant trunk and the taproot is not able to hold the weight of it. So that's the reason branches are producing roots just to give support to the plant so that it doesn't fall. Okay, uproot, it doesn't uproot. Okay, so these branches are known as prop roots, which are only involved in mechanical support. They are not absorbing water. Ye branches are not absorbing water. Another example is stilt roots. Stilt roots you can see in monocot plants like sugarcane and maize. In sugarcane and maize, you know that in the nodal region, from the nodal region, you can see roots arising. Roots are arising from the nodal region. And because you know sugarcane and maize are tall plants, okay, they are thin and tall, slender, thin and tall plants. Tall plants. Okay, they grow straight up. So there is a chances if there is a if there is a like a gale of wind, very breeze, okay, gale of wind coming, there is a chances of the tree, I mean the sugarcane plant to fall down, okay, to get uprooted. So if the breeze is too rough, it just falls down. So इसीलिए इसके जो नीचे वाले nodes है ना, these structures in the sugarcane, what you find, we call it as nodes. These produces roots, and these are the roots are which are going to the ground, and they are only giving mechanical support, okay, like this. So us roots ko hum bolte hai stilt roots in sugarcane and maize, you can see. So write down this one. So we'll read the modifications of root what is given in the textbook. Listen to it. See any doubts you all are having or any word you could you don't understand. Let me know. Modifications of root. Root is a root in some plants change their shape and structure and become modified to perform functions other than absorption and conduction of water and minerals. They are modified to support storage of root and respiration. Taproot of carrot, turnip, and adventitious root of sweet potato get swollen and store food. Can you give some more examples? Not required because NCERT mein itna hi hai kafi. Have you ever wondered what those hanging structures support the banyan tree are? They are prop roots. Similar to the stems of the maize, the sugarcane have supporting root coming out of the lower nodes of the stem. These are called as stilt roots. In some plants such as rhizophora growing in swampy area, many roots come out. 1 minute. Ma'am, 10 minutes का break. हाँ, इसके बाद 10 minutes का break. Okay. In some plants, such as rhizophora, growing in swampy areas, many roots come out of the ground and grow vertically upwards. Such roots are called nematophores, help to get oxygen for respiration. Any doubts? Did you understand this whole para?
मैम
Any
प्रॉप रूट्स
questions?
को एरियल रूट्स भी बोलेंगे ना?
टाइप करेगा क्या? मतलब रौनक who to ask? रौनक, no?
यस मैम.
I couldn't hear you. Your voice is not that audible. So will you just put it in the message in the chat box?
मैम प्रॉप रूट्स को एरियल रूट्स भी बोलेंगे ना?
प्रॉप रूट्स को एरियल रूट्स नहीं बोलेंगे. एरियल रूट्स ना ऑर्किड्स में होता है. ओके. प्रॉप रूट्स ऊपर से आते हैं लेकिन नीचे ग्राउंड के अंदर जाते हैं ना. एरियल रूट्स विल बी जस्ट हैंगिंग ऑन द हैंगिंग in the air. उसको aerial roots बोलते हैं. So aerial roots are very different from prop roots. Prop roots arises from the branch, yes, but it goes deep into the soil. Aerial roots will be hanging. Okay?
ओके मैम.
Okay. So yeah, as you said, Ronak, I will give you 10 minutes break. Okay, 2014 we are going to start. Good. Like kal ho na ho. Okay. Next, we are dealing with the stem. So, what are the features that distinguish a stem from a root? Okay. Stem, one important feature is it is the ascending part of the axis bearing branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits. So, root never bears these structures. Stem has branches and leaves. And very important, stem is the one which develops from the plumule. Plumule give rise to stem. And the embryo during the germination. Or in the stem, you will always see, if this is a stem, you will always see like structures like this. And we call these structures as nodes. These are known as nodes. Between two nodes, this is one node and this is another two. The space between the two nodes is known as internodes. This is known as internodes, nodes and internodes. Okay, nodes and internodes. The region of the stem where the leaves are borne are called as nodes, while internodes are the portion between the two regions. अभी node से क्या आएगा? Node से arise होता है. From the node you will see a leaf. Okay, you will always see a leaf arising from the nodes, not from the internode. Internode से leaves नहीं आएगा. Leaves always arise from the nodes. और यहाँ पर leaf के इस side पर एक bud रहेगा. And the bud is known as axillary bud. This bud is known as axillary This bud is known as axillary bud. And this bud gives rise to the branches. Now, if a plant has to produce branches always arises from the axillary bud. This bud develops into the branch. Okay, and this branch also will have node and internode. देखो branch में भी है node and internode. क्योंकि branch is a part of stem, no? So even that has node and internode. फिर से node से आएगा एक leaf. लीफ के इस साइड पर रहेगा एक्सिलरी बड. इस एक्सिलरी बड से आएगा नया ब्रांच. And like that, it keeps on continuing. That makes the plant very bushy. Okay, the bushiness of the plant is based on its branches. The region of the stem where the leaves borne are the nodes, while the internode is the portion between the two nodes. The stem base buds. Okay, हाँ. अभी मैंने axillary bud बोला. Axillary bud arises from this side near the leaf. नोड से लीफ आएगा, स्टेम और लीफ के बीच में से यू विल गेट एक्सिलरी बड. कभी कभी क्या होगा अगर ये स्टेम है, इफ दिस इज द स्टेम, यू विल सी बड्स ओवर हियर. यहां पर बड्स रहेगा, यहां पर यू विल सी बड्स अराइजिंग एट द टिप ऑफ द स्टेम. ऐसे वाले बड्स को हम बोलेंगे टर्मिनल बड्स. दीज आर नोन एज टर्मिनल these buds are known as terminal buds. Okay. Stem is generally green when young and laterally often become woody and dark brown. Okay, so they become woody and dark brown. The main function of the stem is spreading out the branches. The stem spreads out the branches, bearing leaves, flowers, and fruits. The main function of the stem is that one. It conducts water, minerals, and photosynthesis. This is the main function of the stem. We'll see the additional function of the stem. So this is the main function of the stem. Some stems, ये है additional function. This is the co-curricular activities. Stem functions as storage of food, support, protection, and vegetative propagation. We'll see what are the modifications. Did you all understand this? Everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, shall I move ahead? Okay, Aniket. Fine. Next, we will move on to modification of stem. Okay. Now let's see what and all modifications we will see in the stem. For that, we will go back to our PPT. ओके यहाँ पर देखो, ये है नोड, नोड से आएगा लीफ, ये है एक्सिलरी बड, और ये जो ऊपर बड है ना टिप में, उसको बोलेंगे टर्मिनल और एपिकल बड. ओके, एक्सिलरी बड दो लीफ और स्टेम के बीच में से आएगा, ये है एक्सिलरी बड. देखो ये है एक्सिलरी बड, एक्सिलरी बड से भी ब्रांच आएगा, टर्मिनल बड से भी ब्रांच आएगा. ओके, या ओके. नाउ लेट्स सी द मॉडिफिकेशन ऑफ स्टेम. So we have modified stem based on its modification. Okay. Sometimes stem will be underground. So we will call it as underground modification. Sometimes it will be growing horizontally on the ground. Okay. Agar horizontally on the ground it will be growing. We call it a subaerial modification. And sometimes the modifications are occurring at the aerial part of the stem. Okay. Usko aerial modification bolte hain. So horizontal modification, अंडरग्राउंड मॉडिफिकेशन के लिए एग्जांपल है राइजोम, बल्ब, कॉम, ट्यूबर. ये क्या है हम देखेंगे. सो दीज आर द टाइप्स, उसमें उसका एग्जांपल्स दिया हुआ है. सब एरियल मॉडिफिकेशन यू आर गोइंग टू हैव एग्जांपल्स लाइक रनर, sucker, stolon and offset. These are the sub aerial modifications. Aerial modification you have tendril, thorn, phyloclade, क्लैडोड नहीं चाहिए, ये नहीं है, ये नहीं. These two are not. Rest everything is there. Okay. Please write it. Please write this table and let me know. After writing, please put in the chat box as done. Done? Shall we move ahead? Okay. No, ma'am, not done. Okay. So we will begin with root modification first. So underground stem modification, first example is tuber. So how does a tuber look? Example, best example for that is potato. So you know that potato, it looks this way. And whenever I say a stem, there should be a node and internode, right? So the node arises. So in the potato, you see some depressions, right? So those depressions are the nodes. And between the nodes, the space is known as internode. And you always see a white color structure. We call it as eye of the potato.
So what is the point?
Arising from it. Eye arising from it. Okay. What is it? This is nothing but the axillary bud. So you can take that eye, put it in the soil. It will again grow into a new potato plant. Okay. So this is an example for tuber. Okay. Next example we are going to study is rhizome. So best example for rhizome is turmeric and ginger. Turmeric and ginger is the best example for rhizome. So turmeric and ginger. In ginger, everybody have seen ginger. Use ginger in your house. I guess so. So you can go to the kitchen and also see now if you all are so interested. Yeah. Yeah. Look over here. This is a ginger. So rhizome मतलब क्या हो जाएगा? Ginger will be growing horizontally underground. And on the ventral surface, मतलब ginger के नीचे you can see small roots arising. Okay? और ginger में ऐसे stripes रहते हैं ना? The stripes are the nodes. Okay? और दो stripe के बीच में जो जगह है वो है internode. Okay? So ginger is a underground stem which grows horizontally. Okay? So potato is also underground stem. Remember, potato is a stem, whereas sweet potato is a root modification. Potato is a stem modification, pea sweet potato is a root modification. Okay? Next is corn. Corn के लिए best example is colocasia या फिर yam, elephant foot. Suran बोलते हैं ना, suran. That is an example. So you know this, ये भी बिल्कुल rhizome जैसा ही है, लेकिन rhizome horizontally grow होता है, ये ऐसा vertically. देखो, rhizome grows horizontally like this. लेकिन ये ऐसा vertically grow होता है. This is the node. ये दोनों node बोलते हैं, इनके दोनों बीच की जगह को internode बोलते हैं. ओके और नोड से देखो बर्ड आता है, बर्ड हमेशा नोड के रीजन से आता है. पोटैटो में भी नोड में ही बर्ड आता है. ओके समझ में आया? क्लियर? ओके जस्ट राइट डाउन द एग्जांपल्स. डायग्राम नहीं चाहिए. ट्यूबर के लिए एग्जांपल पोटैटो, राइजम के लिए एग्जांपल इज टर्मरिक एंड जिंजर. कॉम के लिए एग्जांपल इज कोलोकेशिया, अमोर्फोफिलस. टेक्स्ट बुक में एक है जमीन कंड, इज एन एग्जांपल, टेक्स्ट बुक में है वो. ओके अंडरग्राउंड समझ में आया. और एक है बल्ब. बल्ब के लिए एग्जांपल इज अनियन. यस अनियन एंड गार्लिक. बल्ब के लिए लिखो अनियन एंड गार्लिक. गार्लिक इज ऑल्सो एन एग्जांपल. ओके यस अनियन, इफ यू कट अनियन, ऐसे बीच में एक व्हाइट नीचे रूट्स रहता है. अनियन के नीचे रूट्स रहता है ना. यहाँ पर बीच में एक स्ट्रक्चर रहता है, उसको बोलते व्हाइट कलर का स्ट्रक्चर. ओके आई विल जस्ट शो यू. So look at this structure. ये अनियन का white color part, we don't put it for cooking, no? So this white part is the stem. ये है अनियन का actually stem. And what do we eat? ये जो हम लोग ये पार्ट खाते हैं ना, these are the leaves. देखो लिखा है modified leaves serving as food storage. So leaves में onion is storing the food. And जो बाहर का पार्ट जो हम लोग फेंकते हैं, तो 2 टाइप का लीव्स रहता है अनियन में. वो बाहर का पार्ट, द बाहर का वन, द scaly है, that we the one which we throw out is called as scaly leaves, and the one which we put it for, we chop it and put it for our food, we consume it, that is the fleshy leaves. So fleshy leaves are involved in storage, so they store starch. Okay, and this is the shoot. So onion is what kind of modification? It is a bulb. Both onion and garlic are the example for bulb modification. Got it? Fine. Okay. So underground modification, did you all understand? Understood? Okay, so today we'll wind up the class over here. Okay. Tomorrow or day after tomorrow, whenever the class is there, we'll continue. So did you understand today's class, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody understood? Okay. So in the next class, we'll be doing aerial modification, sub-aerial and aerial modification of stem. Yes, Vard, you're saying something? Okay, Aniket. Varad, you wanted to say something? You had some doubt?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No, right? Because you're not that much
No, ma'am.
audible. Okay. So you don't have any doubts. You understood, right, Varad? Varad
Yes,
Chaudhary?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, fine. So we'll meet in the next class. Okay, so what you have to do today, you have to study all the examples. I want you all to study all the examples and come. Fine?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Okay then. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye-bye.